Hello and welcome back to another episode of Teralon Talks. I am Julian Wakefield and I'm glad to be your host again today. It's not going to be a very long episode because I just want to sit down and talk to you about Clubhouse. It's also going to be a bit awkward for me because this is, I think, my first episode where I'm just sitting down by myself talking to you. So do bear with me. I'm not 100% used to this. Anyway, I just wanted to sit down, talk about Clubhouse, which is this new live audio based social media app. I'll go into a bit more detail and explain, but yeah, I've been hearing a few people talk about it recently. It seems to be gaining popularity. I've been using it for the past couple of weeks and have had a fairly good experience with it, so here goes. So first up, what is Clubhouse? Well, it's kind of a cross between podcasts and presentations at a conference. At least that's how I've felt the experience has been for me. So you get the value from a podcast in terms of the information that you can take in quickly and easily without having to give it all of your attention, so you can have it on your headphones or in your car while you're doing other things at the same time, and take in a lot of information like that if you're busy. You also get the interactivity and networking opportunities that you get at conferences. So I suppose I should explain how podcast works, but essentially when you sign up and log on, users can join rooms, and in these rooms, I say rooms with air quotes, they're virtual rooms. You have speakers and moderators who are running the room essentially and talking about a certain topic. They're kind of like the hosts. And then you have the audience who is essentially everyone else, so including you if you're not talking, and the audience just listens in, but can also be promoted up to speak briefly by one of the moderators in order to either ask a question or give some sort of input. You can have public rooms, private rooms, so public rooms, obviously anyone can just join. Private rooms, you have to be invited, whatever. That's kind of straightforward. From there, you can also follow people and be notified when they're speaking or listening, or when they've joined a room, essentially. And you also have clubs, which are just basically groups that revolve around a certain topic. And if you are in a club or follow a club, you get notified when any of its hosts or moderators start a room. So, I mean, that's kind of in a nutshell what it is. It's a great way to talk and listen and kind of take in and exchange information around a certain topic. I have heard some people complain about privacy issues in that when you do join and want to invite a friend, you have to give the app access to all of your contacts and not just that one friend, meaning that if I wanted to invite, say, Santi, for example, I have to grant it access to all of my contacts, so it also knows that I am connected to Guy and Freddie and everyone else that is in my address book, which is fine if you're okay with that, but it also means that the app knows that Guy is connected to me, even though that Guy has no idea that I have given the app permission. And, Guy may not want people knowing that he's connected to me, which is understandable in some respects. He's behind me, he's nodding. The other potential privacy issue is that all of these conversations or talks that happen in these rooms are recorded temporarily in case someone needs to flag up something like bullying or harassment, in which case they're used for, let's say, moderation purposes. Now, they say that they delete these conversations pretty much straight after the room has closed, but there's no guarantee of that. And the company that manages the back-end infrastructure of the app is apparently based in Shanghai. So take what you want from that. I take the approach that, obviously be careful with your data and don't just give it out to whoever. But it's kind of inevitable these days that some apps will know some things about you, and it depends how off the grid you want to go. But that's there for information's sake. So why is Clubhouse useful? Well, for a lot of our followers who might be visual content creators, so photographers, filmmakers, etc., you might wonder why this audio-based app is useful to you. And to that I say, it allows you to stay up to date with industry trends and listen in on topics that are relevant to you. I've been listening in on a lot of marketing-related rooms and kind of understanding the needs of marketers or marketing departments in companies, because first of all, that's a service that we provide here at Teralon. We do all the strategy around the content that we produce. But also when we're working directly with the end clients, it allows us to not only understand their needs a bit more and kind of learn what content is performing well on social media, so that we're on the same page as them when it comes to working on a project together. Or even better, we can make suggestions as to what type of content will be better for them if they are not aware of that themselves. And on the flip side, if you're into marketing, then same thing really. Listen in on these topics and jump in on these groups so that you kind of stay up to date. So in the same way as podcasts are useful for taking in information, this is also a very useful way of staying on top of things and keeping up to date. I'd say it's even more reactive, because these are live. There's a lot of discussion around topics. It's not just one or two people talking. So you really get a much larger mix of opinions and exchange of information. So if you think about it, real life conferences that used to happen maybe a couple times a year, where industry professionals would come up and talk on stage as panelists and share information, and this whole networking thing, that would happen a couple times a year, and you couldn't always go and attend because you might not live anywhere close to those. And this is kind of replacing that. So you have people in these rooms who are sometimes extremely proficient at what they do. It's not just anyone. I suppose it depends which groups you join or which rooms you join, but they share a lot of interesting information, which is quite often a lot more relevant and up to date than the other sort of more curated content that you find on the internet. So that's one big thing, is just getting that up to date information. Now the second is the networking opportunities, because these rooms are often quite big. I mean, I've been in some of them where there were a couple hundred people listening, with 20 or so speakers and moderators. They don't all talk at the same time. They kind of take it in turns. And then members of the audience that just jump in and join in when they have questions or valuable input. And if you were in one of those rooms, either listening and subsequently reaching out to any of the speakers, or if you jump in and ask a question or add value yourself, a lot of the other people in the room will also interact with you. And there's nothing like a group to get a discussion going. I mean, we all know how awkward it is if you're maybe just one-on-one and you run out of ideas. I mean, right now I'm kind of on my own talking to you, and it's painful. You have no idea how many takes I've been through to get this out. Anyway, so yeah, networking, that's one other big benefit of the app. It converts well to other platforms too, because there are no DMs on the app. So if either you're speaking in the rooms and speaking directly to each other over live audio, or you connect your Twitter and Instagram accounts, and that is how you reach out in people's DMs and connect with them beyond that. So it really does favor conversion to other platforms. So it's also a great way to grow your audience on those. And if you have a product or a brand or something that you're wanting to promote to consumers, it's also a great way to jump in on some conversations and get a little bit of community going around whatever it is you're selling, or whoever you are and what your brand is, to kind of add value and add information and do some community outreach and get some conversations going. It's not rocket science. If you're selling, I don't know, homemade candles or something like that, just jump into a few self-care groups or self-care rooms and add some value there and ask some questions and engage with people there. Who knows, they might like what you say and then want to follow you on other social media platforms or even buy your homemade candles. Just a thought. That's kind of it, really. If you enjoy listening to podcasts, I'd encourage you to jump on there and have a search for topics that you're interested in. I've found it very, very useful. I'm now kind of listening to that as well as podcasts on drives and walks and things like that. Some of these rooms even go for 6 hours. Well, some of them are 24/7, and they have teams of people who take it in turn to keep those rooms going. But that's kind of a bit too much for me. If you do feel like joining, please do connect with me. I'm on there at Julian Wake, or just search for Julian Wakefield. Santi has also just joined, so I think search for Santi Morgan Garcia. Santi, what's your handle on Clubhouse?
I think that you put it right there.
Yeah, Santi Morgan Garcia. I think maybe the rest of Teralon will join at some point soon. And I don't know if you think that there are some rooms that we could host about a topic that would interest you. Do let us know, because I've been thinking about it. I just have no idea what to talk about. So let me know what you'd like to hear about. I think I'll stop there, because this has been wonderful sitting down to talk with you, but also incredibly awkward talking just to a camera. I'm really not used to this. Well, camera, microphone, if you're listening, whatever. Let's move on. Make sure you subscribe to Teralon Talks podcast. We'll have a few more coming out soon. Maybe, I don't know, we do this kind of sporadically when we feel like it. Yeah, also connect with us on Instagram. We're at Teralon Media. And I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.